Hello, my name is Muhammad Ali Hassan. I'm a major in the industrial engineering here at the Cullen College of Engineering. And today I'm going to go through my recommendation report on self driving vehicles versus regular vehicles. Now, you may know a self driving vehicle is a vehicle that's capable of sensing its environment and navigating without any human input. Now, compared to regular vehicles, they actually require human control. Okay, so on to our next slide, we will be discussing our table of contents. So here, representing our slides, we have it split as the introduction, split into three sections, which is the purpose, the background, and the scope. Then we come up to our discussion, which will describe our two criteria, which are the safety specifications and the cost effectiveness. And then we have our third section, which comes to the conclusion, which has our summary and our recommendation. And we ended off, of course, with our contact information and our questions. So here we're just representing the table of contents section of the report, just an overview. So we have each section split, starting with the abstract, which is not written in my PowerPoint, but it's written in the report. So an abstract, like is just a brief summary of a research article, a thesis, a review, a conference proceeding, anything in-depth analysis of a subject that's used to help the reader quickly ascertain the paper's purpose. So when we use an abstract, it always appears at the beginning of a report. So the abstract in its recommendation report, we actually discuss the safety specifications and cost effectiveness of regular vehicles and self-driving vehicles. Self-driving vehicles are actually an increase in production in the vehicle industry and technologies that companies use to test the safety of the vehicle and the effectiveness on the road. So as we see, our introduction is always the beginning section of a written work. So it always states your purpose and your goals of the following writing. And of course, our discussion, it relates to the criteria we chose to discuss in the report. And like I said, our conclusion, it's going to state our final thoughts and what we learned from the report. Okay, so now we get into a more deeper analysis in our introduction. So of course, we will start with the purpose. And you already know the purpose is the reason for which something is done or the reason the report is written. So for example, the purpose of this report is to give the best choice as to which vehicle is safe and efficient and best for consumers for future lives. Comparing regular vehicles or self-driving vehicles. In general, this report will give details about each vehicle and what's recommended to society for benefit in our lives. Next, we got the background of the introduction. So first, as we come into here, we describe the purpose of the report, and next we got the background. So we describe what is the background of this report, and which is what we got is the knowledge behind a subject. So the definition of background is the knowledge behind a subject. So the background of this report is regular vehicles have been used in our lives for many years, starting around the 1800s to the 1900s, shifting our lives in a direction that changed society in a drastic way. However, regular vehicles, stuck in an idea of increasing the safety on the road and bring consumers a product that is different from the rest. And that's when we came into self-driving vehicles that are relatively new to the driving world, invented around the late 1900s, and they just made significant differences to vehicles, bringing to consumers. So the safety of these vehicles was also very risky due to the reliability of technology for a vehicle moving on a road without the control of a driver. So as time passed, the idea of self-driving vehicles had flooded the market for the increased development of efficiency and safety the vehicles provided. The cost has also advanced to become affordable compared to regular driving vehicles, allowing consumers to decide the kind of vehicle that would be suitable for their lives and why self-driving vehicles will be the new vehicle to take over society. The replacement of self-driving vehicles instead of regular vehicles will increase the safety as well of driving on the road. And lastly, we will describe what is the scope of the report. And of course, this just explains the criteria we will explain in the report going into our next slide. So right here, we get into the discussion. So we have both of our criteria. So as we dive in, our first one, of course, is safety specifications. Safety specifications are important for any vehicle because safety should be the main reasoning behind any purchase for a consumer. So vehicles must have safety specifications to ensure safe transportation on the road and avoid any contacts that may occur. Regular vehicles have been around society for longer than self-driving vehicles, finding ways to advance the safety of its development. Self-driving cars have the potential to improve both speed, safety on the road, well beyond what regular cars with human drivers can accomplish. However, the dream of a true driverless car is still part of the distant future. Just the idea of creating a safer specification for these self-driving vehicles is just needed to increase its use in the future for consumers. And coming to our next criteria, we have cost effectiveness. The cost of production of vehicles is always important in the business world to understand what the cost is to create the vehicle, manufacturing, owning. The important aspect in any purchase should be the cost, and what if you are paying for it is always worth its value. The cost of production will be greater in the long run of producing these self-driving vehicles, but however, the value of ownership and maintaining a vehicle will increase within time. But regular vehicles in today's society have maintained good cost effectiveness and just excel self-driving vehicles due to the longevity of its production. So we dive deeper into cost effectiveness. And so for example, we have our first slide right here that describes, so right here we have just a graph of about insurance costs. So right here, it just represents the models of BMW, Tesla Model S, Lexus, Honda Accord, Toyota Prius, Porsche. And so they just kind of have the differences as we see. The self-driving prices are in red and the regular vehicles are in blue. So the figure right here just shows the accuracy between the insurance costs. And so for example, like we have insurance costs between regular and self-driving vehicles. So we know that self-driving vehicles are significantly lower than regular vehicles due to the fact that a lot of self-driving vehicles, when they're on the road, as they're in traffic, they're always controlled by the driver, not the driver, but the technology that's actually inputted inside the self-driving vehicle. So the reason why the insurance costs are so low, because there is no human being that really takes part into driving the vehicle. And so that's why cost effectiveness is kind of greater on the self-driving vehicle in the sense knowing that the cost of insurance is a lot cheaper for sport cars or even regular cars that are shown onto this graph. Okay, and then go back. And then so we have the safety specifications. So right here, we actually went into the second slide and we missed this one. So we're going back to the safety specifications right here. So here we're just going to discuss the report. So right here, the figure, it shows the accuracy right here. So as you can see, the model accuracy. This is actually on CNN. So they actually test between the training and then the testing. So you see right here, training is in blue and the testing here is in orange. And so basically the accuracy is show the numbers, and you can just see how it continues to reduce on the test right here. And just self-driving cars are created with the goal of reducing safety risks on the road, and multiple companies take different technology approaches to get closer to that goal. CNN, like I said, validated this model on 2 large-scale self-driving data sets and showed that the simulations closely match the outputs of real perception and prediction systems. Companies such as CNN found ways to test the safety of self-driving vehicles, but with current technology, they can only go so far to improve the data. However, other companies such as CNN have found ways to improve the safety in these vehicles as well. So going back to our conclusion, so as we state our conclusion, this is kind of around the final, as I said, the conclusion of the report. And so our conclusion was basically the reasoning behind the creation of self-driving vehicles was to provide an increase of safety effectiveness in the public and better cost for consumers. Although safety has been proven to increase with self-driving vehicles, the technology to improve its safety and cost is still in progress of finding the best strategy for these vehicles in the future. The conclusion is split into 2 sections, the summary and the recommendation. And so as we dive in, so the summary of our report is the recommendation report evaluated regular vehicles and self-driving vehicles based on the safety specifications and cost effectiveness. Now, self-driving cars safety was evaluated, excelled in the safety specifications. However, regular vehicles had better cost effectiveness in the time being. And so you ask why we recommend regular vehicles. Just with the current technology and where we are with all the data and the safety and all, just the training, regular vehicles are just recommended for the safest and most cost effectiveness. And so right here we get to the contact. So of course, if you would like to contact me, please reach out to me on my email. And so right here, it clearly states my email. So you can just contact me at mnalyasin@uh.edu. So this is definitely something, a contact I'll definitely reach out to. And then final, if you have any questions, any concerns, anything you want to ask about the report, I'm definitely free to ask any questions. And so thank you for your time.